This September, the EWG Scarlet Knights Alumni Association invites you to join us to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the founding of Exeter West Greenwich High School. In this video series, we'll chat with longtime faculty and staff to remember some stories you know, and maybe a few you haven't heard.
I remember the day I got the call from the superintendent. They told me I had the job, but they could have heard me scream down at the high school because there were a lot of candidates for the first positions. And we started with Spanish and French just because those were the two most popular. They wanted Italian as well, but we couldn't get that in. The teacher strike the first day. My first job in public school, and I walked the picket line. I have a picture of myself. I had no clue what I was doing. I hadn't even gotten in the door. All these people I didn't know. I mean, I knew no one in the school. It was brand new, but we were just walking along, and I'm thinking, I have no clue what I'm doing. Just a couple of days that we were out there, but it was made the news, brand new school opening and teachers on strike. Go figure. The first few years, we had all these different administrators. In the first couple of years, we didn't even have full classes. I was down in the junior high chorus room, the band practice room there. Soundproofing panels on the wall, and it was hot, hot, hot in there. It must have been 95, just because the heat wasn't regulated. So I had always written down, if somebody was coming from the class, rather than putting Spanish, I just put spa. And eventually somebody noticed that I was working in the spa and writing Spanish as spa. So that was the first 3 or 4 months that the school was open. But we used to have all the guys with their fire radios. So anytime the volunteers got a call, the alarms went off in class, and everybody's grabbing their radios and trying to read and see what's going on. They outlawed those fast. Every time the dust went up, the alarms went off. So it was, eventually they did tell us to stop leaving the classrooms because there was just so many times we were out 8, 10, 12 times during the day. Because if somebody was working and they shook out a drop cloth or something like that, then the alarm would go off. It was fun because you kind of bonded with the kids because it was one more interruption. And you go out again and come in and go out again, and you learn the ropes with the kids. So, but it was only the 2 classes, the 9th and 10th grade at that time. Yeah, we had a good crew, all of us together. How many schools do you have nowadays where the teachers and the kids would come together overnight? And that was kind of fun. You're playing video games at 2 in the morning, and you get some kids that conk out, and he was a student's dad, and the cheerleaders were doing their cheering for the basketball that was going on. And he had hair down the middle of his back, put it in a ponytail, and put on a cheerleading skirt, and he went in and cheered. And all I remember him is running through by the main office into the gymnasium with a cheerleading skirt on. And I think he had like white ankle socks and sneakers or something, and he had a heck of a time. The kids they thought it was hysterical because he ran around and around and around the gym. At Sparks, that was what, 91, 92, the first couple of Midnight Madnesses, because it was way back early. The crew of us, they were called the baby boomers, because all of us that were hired in 1990 that turned 30 that year. There were probably a dozen of us, and many of us met at that dance, and I think there were 6 or 7 of us doing the hustle. And the kids were just standing there staring at us. Senior high cafeteria, school dance, picture that one. Class day, passing the sword, yeah. From one class to the other, honors night. All of these things that we set up. And then Claire Mary Pratt came in, yeah. They thought we were sisters. Obviously, Mr. Zoglio was 6'4", and I was 5'0", and they would always make fun because if I were walking down that area, he'd give me a hard time. And, it's like this looking at Mr. Zoglio, so, and they put that big sign up, DMZ, don't mess with Zoglio. Because I was in the corps, and he was right down, because being in the junior high now, I guess, the junior high chorus room, or the band practice room, however they call it at this particular moment. So if I would just go out right down there, that's right where it was, and don't you go by. So, yeah, the DMZ, don't mess with Zoglio. Because, the junior high, they didn't want everybody wandering. Some of the school was not finished, and some of the, so he'd always come up to me and do this, put his elbow on my head. That's just the height, so We brought in Incasson, this was at the Fortaleza. They would bring in plays. All the pictures pop through your brain. It's like the first honors night, the first Spanish honors night, the first band concert, the first jazz band concert, the first play. The first cold snap we would have, September, it was hot, hot, hot in the 90s. And you can't open the windows because there's that black roof and all the heat from the black roof comes in the room. And then in October, they didn't put the heat on when the cold came in and the temperature goes down. We were teaching with the coat on. My room was 50. Monumental task. But it lasted. I mean, the school made it. The school's there, the school's 30 years. Doesn't seem possible. 30 years. Really nice. It was a dream. It was a good one. Yeah.